Monday Night Football. The Chicago Bears are on the road to take on the Minnesota Vikings. My two favorite picks are on the way. What's going on? My name is Austin from Calling Our Shot. Let's dive into a recap from Sunday. A very good day for us. A 4-1 day, so close to the sweep. Let's talk about it. Our CJ Stroud and Evan Ingram same game parlay. We played for 1.5 units. Pretty sweat free. They get the job done. We had Bijan Robinson's over in rush attempts. Pretty sweat free. And then Minshew and Lamar Jackson got the job done too with their pass attempts. Our only loser was Derrick Henry's over in rushing plus receiving yards. And it was 76. Did not get a single receiving yard. Was super close. Great game script. Just did not get the job done. Didn't do a lot in the first half. Ended up turning it on a little bit too late. But we also cashed day one of our ladder challenge. We will certainly take that. We always play them for 1 unit. Day two will be on Monday. I'm just going to keep track of it in our NBA picks since I don't feel like making a separate tab for it. And then, of course, we cashed our plus 636 long shot parlay, mine exclusive. If you checked it out, you watched our video on Saturday, you saw that one. And hopefully you guys tailed and made some money with us. And if you are new, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on anything we're doing here. We're less than almost 10,000 subscribers away from 200,000, trying to hit that by the end of the year. So do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, and we will talk about a sleeper parlay at the end of the video, trying to 5x our money. If you're new to sleeper, it's very similar to the daily fantasy apps like Underdog Fantasy, PrizePicks of the world. They have a lot of different daily fantasy apps you can parlay together and make some money. They also have a free square for new users. So if you've never used sleeper, here's how you get it. You sign up with our code COS, you get 100% deposit match up to $100, so it's a potential of $100 free, and you also get the Justin Fields free square for him to get 1 yard. He's going to get 1 yard, whether it's a pretty or cute or ugly. He's going to get you 1 yard. I guarantee you that. Of course, I'll talk about sleeper a little bit more later on in this video and a parlay that I'm doing over there. But let's dive into today's picks. We only got 2 of them plus that sleeper entry. Let's dive into the first one. It is a running back. It's Alexander Madison of the Minnesota Vikings over 9.5 receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. Now, personally, I played this right around 11.5, 12.5. I don't think the line goes much higher than that. I think this is a pretty solid line. And honestly, the analysis could be just running backs, receiving yards versus the Bears. End of analysis. Let's move to our second pick. But honestly, legitimately, that is what we're taking here. And let's talk about Madison so far this season. Then we'll talk about the matchup. You look at Madison, 10 receiving yards or more in 6 of 11 games. So 50% give or take hit rate. Not the best, not the worst, certainly. And in 3 games so far with Josh Dobbs at QB, he's seen 2+ targets in all 3. So seeing, okay, some targets. He's resulted in 49, 6, and then minus 1 yards. Obviously, the minus 1, not ideal, but he just doesn't have, whatever. They're not the greatest track record in terms of hitting this over with Josh Dobbs, but at least he's seeing the targets, and that's all we can ask for. And like I said, this matchup is the best one you could ask for if you're a running back coming out of the backfield trying to catch passes, because this season, the Bears, he allowed the second most receptions, 68, and most receiving yards, 696 to running backs. The next closest in yards is 545. They're not even close to him. This is a team that plays a lot of cover 2, and you see just targets galore go to the running backs. Even running backs that have no business hitting this over, hit the over against them. Guys that don't even catch passes like a guy like Alexander Madison can. And there's a reason his receptions line sit at minus 1.5 or 1.5, about minus 200. They really expect him to get 2 receptions. And this season, we've seen Madison 7 games with 2 or more receptions, hit the over in 6 of those 7. I'll take my chances. He averaged 21.8 receiving yards in those games. And in addition to that, I'm not going to bore you with every single running back and say, hey, this is how many receptions he had, blah, blah, blah. But 20 running backs have at least 2 targets against the Bears. 17 of those 20 guys at least hit this over. Madison's been running 18 to 20 routes these last few weeks with Josh Dobbs at QB. I trust him to be out there, and I think the targets are going to funnel to him. I think he'll have a great day. Now, I don't blame anyone that wants to take Ty Chandler for receiving yards. He's the other running back in the Vikings backfield, given he just had a 47 receiving yard game. However, I think that's a little bit misleading, as he only ran 7 routes compared to the 23 or so that Madison ran. I think the Madison routes are more sustainable. Sure, he didn't get the ball thrown his way. I think that probably changed a little bit on Monday night. So I will roll with Alexander Madison against the Bears defense, allowing the fewest rushing yards per attempt. I think he's the better receiver out of the backfield. We'll take Madison. He should be in for those 2-minute drill type things. He's always been in for the Vikings in those situations. So Alexander Madison, our first play for Monday night, will take us over in receiving yards at 9.5. It could just be done on 1 reception. We will certainly take that. Now, my second pick is going to go to the other side. We're going to go to Bear, and we're talking about Justin Fields, who is the free square. That's not what I'm taking here for him. Taking his over 8.5 rushing attempts, minus 122 on FanDuel. Now, I would not be surprised by the time I post this video, the line is 9.5. I would still play that. Now, personally, I don't know if I'd play it for a full unit, maybe a quarter of a, or maybe a half a unit, maybe 0.75 of a unit, because obviously that is a big marginal difference to go from 8.5 to 9.5. I do think he gets 10 or more, but obviously it's your money. If you feel comfortable taking it at 9.5, take it there. But we saw in week 11 when Justin Fields returned back from injury, 18 rushing attempts, 14 of them came via designed runs. The other 4 were via scrambles. So, and one of them was a kneel too. So we look at the end of the day. I mean, look, a lot of designed runs for him. And while I'm not saying he's getting 10 plus designed runs again tonight, I do want to say, I mean, I just don't know if that's sustainable for his health. You look at the running backroom, backfield. Deontay Foreman, a guy that's really been toting the rock a lot for him. He's out, or doubtful technically. Now, Khalil Herbert is back, and so is Roshan Johnson. But still, they were like Deontay Foreman. And I think we could see, Justin Fields have a great day on the ground. And I consider his rushing yards, but I think the attempts are going to be there. I mean, attempts gives you a couple ways out. Maybe he kneels at the end of halves, or maybe he kneels at the end of the game, or maybe he does like some tush push, give or take, something like that. You get some QB sneak type things in there. All are capable for these rushing attempts prompt. And we saw them already take on the Minnesota Vikings once. It was back in week 6 versus Minnesota. Justin Fields, 8 rushing attempts. He did that for 46 yards. Fields got injured with 10:43 left in the third quarter. He barely played in the third. He barely played in the second half, and he still was right at this line. That was also a game where we saw them really not using him a ton towards his strengths, which at the end of last season, you saw the strength of Justin Fields was making plays with his legs, and that's what we want to see against the Vikings team that is very blitz heavy. So they're running a lot of blitzes, and if Justin Fields sees guys coming into his face, I bet you it goes to his instincts, which is running the football. We saw it last year when they kind of let Fields do his thing, play like himself. Final 10 games of the season when Fields really came on strong, he had 10 rush attempts or more in 7 games. The other ones, he saw 6, 7, and 8. So getting sort of close to this line. I like the matchup against the Vikings. They're a team that has been stout against the run, doesn't really give up a lot of rushing touchdowns, but also, their secondary hasn't been terrible. And I just don't trust the Bears receivers to get open a ton. So I really like Justin Fields. He has the scramble ability, but they also are going to call some designed runs for him early. And assuming he doesn't get injured in there, and he was super successful with them last week, I don't see them going away from him. I really do like Justin Fields to get those rush attempts. I like his yards too, but like I said, you can have those kneel downs, QB sneak type things. Those count as attempts while you're not getting a ton of yards. I think he hits both of them though, so I don't mind his rushing yards as well as a pivot. We'll take his over though in rushing attempts, 1 unit over 8.5. Now, it's time for our sleeper entry. Let's talk about one more play that I really did consider. This is what I'm rolling with. Reminder, Sleeper has the free square for Justin Fields to get 1 yard for new users. Make sure you use our code COS or the top link in description so you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Now, I've already talked about Alexander Madison and Justin Fields. I pivoted to his rushing yards in case he wants to soar over that and not get the attempts. I like both of those, obviously. The one I did not talk about was Joshua Dobbs over in completions. I do like the completions line for him. It might be 22.5 sometimes on some books, but I really do think Dobbs will get 21.5 completions. Like I said, this is a Bears secondary that's actually been pretty decent over the past couple weeks in terms of limiting the pass yards, but they haven't given up a lot of completions. And I think Josh Dobbs dumps it off the guys like Madison, Hawkinson, Ty Chandler, the guys in the flat that are just going to catch some receptions, not necessarily get 25 yards a pass, which kind of nukes your completions. But I think we see more completions, more so than yards tonight from a guy like Josh Dobbs. But either way, I think he's at 20 completions in all 3 as a Vikings starter. Well, technically one of the games he did not start. But either way, those are our favorite picks of the day. We're trying to go 2-0. Of course, let me know your favorite picks down below. We're going to try to hit that sleeper entry as well. And if there are a couple other videos on the screen, if you want to go check out a day in the life of myself, it's on the second channel. We have another second channel video coming live later on this week. We have a ton of other content for you guys to check out on the channel. Day 2 of the ladder challenge we posted tomorrow, or technically on Monday, since I'm recording this Sunday evening. Let's have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in the next one. It's Austin. I'm signing out. Catch you later. Peace.